Hey, this podcast is sponsored by Anchor, the easiest free way to make a podcast, and how I made this podcast. Creation tools let me record and edit from my phone or computer, and Anchor distributes my shows on Apple, Spotify, and more. Earn money from your show with no minimum listenership. Anchor's all I need to make a show, and hey, if I'm going to stick an ad on here, I'm going to make it something I support. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I do paintings and I play classical piano every single day. It helps me relax, and I sit at the piano and improvise, and I've been doing that since I was 8 years old. But my family used to think when I was younger that I would outgrow some of my weirdness, but no, it's still there. I like to try to take everything with like an optimistic approach first before having like a panic attack. So writing, scripting episodes helps me calm down, and it's almost like a reset button. Creativity in general.
That's Mike Vardahl, creator of a show called Vardalia Onions. In April of 2020, Mike started a YouTube channel writing and performing skits with his 4 kids. Mike's here to talk about how creativity curbs anxiety for his family and himself, and how to tap into your unbridled, childlike sense of joy. This minimalist wants more. The Enough-ism podcast is about having enough already. For more, visit IamEnough-ism.com. Hello and welcome to the Enough-ism podcast. Hey Mike, so tell me about your channel and where did the name Vardalia Onions come from?
Our channel is called Vardalia Onions. That's because my name is Mike Vardahl, and we have 4 kids, my wife and I. And one of the kids was in 7th grade, I believe, at the time. And one of the teachers couldn't remember her last name or just couldn't pronounce it right. So he just kept calling her Vardalia Onions because, it has her name in it with the IA. He just kept calling her, hey, Vardalia Onion, Vardalia Onion. And this is back in March of 2020, actually, right before the pandemic started. And during this time is also when my kids got more on social media. And this particular kid, her name's Alyssa, had TikTok and was watching Megan Thee Stallion do I'm a Savage in that trend that's going around. And I don't know if I misunderstood the words or made fun of it on purpose, but I used to walk around saying, I'm a salad, lettuce, carrots, and some radish. And they're like, you should record that and I'll put it up. Put it up on YouTube. It's funny. I'm like, I don't know how to. I don't even know how to use YouTube. So finally, we made a little skit out of it. I played piano, wore a green wig. I have anxiety issues. I don't like being on camera, so I wore a green wig because hey, it wasn't me playing the piano and singing. It was hey, whoever this dude is. So
yeah, that's a character.
Skit. It was pretty funny. Yeah, it's actually our first YouTube video. It has over 7,000 views. Right now, it was doing pretty good. And when you upload to YouTube, it says pick a channel name. I'm like, what the heck is a channel name? Because I've never used it before. I'm like, I got to pick a name. Is it permanent? Can I change it? I don't know. So I just went with, Vardalia Onion. No, Vardalia Onions, because maybe my whole family would help out. So I just kind of typed it out really quick and just kind of went with it, So in the beginning, it was just me doing music parodies, other short comedy skits. Slowly, my kids or wife got involved in some of the skits and singing, and a little bit here and there. It was still mostly my channel until we had a skit in October of 2020 called Dogs of Town Hall Meow Mix, which I want to explain. We were listening to the radio, country channel, and the band Old Dominion was on, and they're saying how they recorded their entire album with meows instead of singing. So like the song One Man Band became meow, 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 meow. And it was really freaking annoying. And I said, this is annoying, but if I was a dog, I'd be offended by this. That's a joke. So I took some stuffed animals. I set them up in chairs, make it look like an auditorium, which ended up being the town hall, actually. And I wore a dog mask. And my actual daughter, the 3-year-old, was in it, but she had no talking lines yet. And basically we were saying, we're writing a letter to Old Dominion saying we're offended by this. The cats are mean to us. They don't understand us. And the song should really go like this. So I sat at the piano and played by going, ruff, 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 ruff. And it was actually pretty funny, but the video did really, really well. So when January hit, I was just sitting in bed and I'm thinking, maybe I should do more with dogs. That was probably the best video that got, had the most subscribers. It was easy to make, and I was had more characters in it. So when January came about, I'm like, I can make dogs talk. I use an app and I make the animals' lips move and heads move. And now we actually have full storylines with them. With my 3-year-old, actually, she just turned 4. Her name is Avery. She plays the leader of the pack. So it actually came out by chance. So now the episode with Old Dominion, we call the Dogs of Town Hall pilot episode. And the episode that came out in January called Leader of the Pack is episode 1. And we're almost done filming episode 11. And we already have 3 specials that are done.
Wow, you're a content mogul. I love it. It's inspiring.
It's just kind of like, it's a hobby, but we enjoy it. And partly what I wanted to talk about is a lot of it was just me, myself in the beginning, because my kids are also really, really uncomfortable on being on camera. But when I saw, that I could have talking dogs and you don't have to show your face, you just, I use my voices. After episode 1, Leader of the Pack, they wanted to voice certain dogs. They all kind of pick their own dogs. They did the voices, and it helped them with being comfortable with themselves, telling jokes online, being their own personality. The dogs actually have their own personalities, well, for the most part. So it's definitely helping them come out of their shell. And then slowly now they're like, well, I want to show my face on camera. So there's one episode where my daughter Adriana, she was 11. She's I don't even know what she is actually. She's just kind of, she's a belle, like an actual belle that turns into a princess. But she's not like Belle the princess, so it's kind of complicated. But, she was glad to have her own face in that. My daughter Alyssa was a package delivery. My son Addison, he's 18 now, but he's the worst one with anxiety and stuff. He doesn't even like his name mentioned, but we'll keep that a secret. So I was filming an episode, and he goes, I want to play a part. I want to be on camera. I go, you never want to be on camera, and that's fine. He goes, no, I want a part in this episode. I go, I don't have anything left. He goes, you have nothing. I said, no, I have the Queen of Hearts, because it's Alice in Wonderland or Avery in Wonderland. He goes, fine, I'll do it. I go, you're going to be the Queen of Hearts. So he took one of my wife's dresses, and I bought him a Queen of Hearts big giant hat that he wears in that episode. It's actually episode number 3, and he uses his normal voice and stuff, but he's actually a really, really good part.
Well, what you're talking about reminds me of my improvisational theater background. So I used to be terrified of being on stage, and I found improv theater so interesting because I wasn't myself. I was an old woman on the sea, fighting to get my pancake breakfast or something. Everything was beyond myself. There's a reason why businesses use improvisation as a strategy to help people get to know each other better, because you're kind of losing your identity. In meditation, there is a form of therapy that people use. It's for people who have suffered really severe trauma, where they actually work to change your identity completely. It's a really powerful form of therapy. So just imagine all of a sudden you live in a new apartment, you have a new wardrobe, you have a new name, you're working on a new career, and the switch flips, and all of a sudden you're more comfortable in yourself. So yeah, like the act, like you said, of putting on a wig, and all of a sudden you feel more comfortable and you feel more free. There's something to that. I think it's powerful.
Yeah, because in the house, I act myself all the time, obviously, but out in public, like I can be quiet. I can, we can be in a social situation, and I don't say a single word. It's like I go home and I don't shut up. So it's, I wouldn't, but if I was at a party, wearing a wig being someone else, I probably would be, Fidelia Onion or whatever they would call me.
Yeah. How do you think making this show has changed your family dynamic, and how do you think it's helping your kids and yourself just be better?
Well, it definitely did make us a lot closer, actually, because now it's a family hobby. It's not just me. The whole family helps us script. Usually I would write an episode and have the family review it. Add a line here, add a line here. But with episode 9, I believe, it's called episode 10, Avriella, my daughter Adriana, she's 11, wrote the entire episode herself. And honestly, she handed it to me, and I thought I was going to stink. I'm like, I kid writing it. How good is it going to be? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I think, I changed stupid things like her spelling and maybe a line here and there, because, some lines sometimes could be offensive because we're weird. So I'll change certain things here and there. And that episode came out really good. And then my daughter Alyssa's like, well, I want to write one. Well, if you want to write episode 11, then go ahead. which she did, and it was also actually really good. And that's one we're filming today. That's called The Stray, about a stray dog that everyone thinks is a puppy, a sweet little puppy, but it's really a 52-year-old woman who's a complete snot to everybody. She's like, I'm not a little puppy, those are my cookies. And so now they're writing that. And as a matter of fact, one of the kids right now is working on a 2-part episode right this moment. They wanted to get into more singing because they can sing. I mean, I can't. I have videos of it and it sucks, which is why people like it. So as a family together, we're working on a musical, which probably won't be out till next year, but it's called Dogs of Town Hall, the musical, where the dog Butters, her name is Butters, she orders cookies, and her favorite kind of cookies, she gets them every month, but they're missing. She can't find them. So she sings this really super sad song how the cookies are missing, and she's so depressed about it. And then these happy songs when she finds them. And there's a rap called "Cookies in the Hood." It's because one of the dogs is wearing a hoodie, and the hoodie's in front, and the cookies are inside the hoodie. So it's a cool name with a rap song, "Cookies in the Hood," but it's really about a hoodie that's with cookies in it, which was actually my wife's idea because she's kind of like the silent one in this as far as writing. So. But it helped everyone find new hobbies. We're all working together as a team. Since quarantine started in general, we're closer as a family because we play more games together. We do more walks together. I'm trying to be a better father for the most part. I work remotely now. I switched careers. I work in computers, but now I'm finally staying home so I could stay home with them. They'll be in school, but at least I'm around. I'm not,
Yeah.
I used to work an hour and a half away from my house. And it was really, really long days. And it wasn't until, Corona started, I'm like, wow, I'm missing their games, I'm missing their dance recitals. I need to do something. So when we started this YouTube channel, part of it was, hey, we'd really like to make an income. It'd be cool to replace my income, but any kind of income would be so I can be home with them more, which was one of the main purposes of Dogs of Town Hall, and also to help with our anxiety issues and educate kids on other things such as the ABCs. The new episode my daughter wrote called The Stray is about having manners. So it's going along pretty well.
Were your parents and your wife's parents, were they supportive of creativity? Do you think that's kind of where you got the bug to pass it on?
No, my parents really aren't creative at all. They don't do much of any of that kind of stuff. But it's pretty much the same for my wife's family. I'm just weird, I guess. I do paintings and that kind of stuff. And I play classical piano every single day. It helps me relax. And I sit at the piano and improvise. And I've been doing that since I was 8 years old. But no one else in my family was doing that. Well, my grandmother was, that's true. But my parents say all the time, your dad's the mailman, your dad's the milkman. Well, whoever it is, they did a good job. So, yeah, and it's just my personality. And they used to think when I was younger that I would outgrow some of my, I don't know if you want to call it weirdness, but I'll outgrow it. But no, it's still there. Probably stronger. If I have to be serious on something, I will. But I like to try to take everything with like an optimistic approach first before having like a panic attack. So
Yeah.
And the show definitely helps. Writing scripting episodes helps me calm down. Just like playing stuff on the piano helps me relax myself, calm down, and think. So it's helped me a lot.
Yeah. Well, what you're doing when your kids are writing scripts or when you're playing piano, you're kind of entering that flow state, right? Where your brain is just kind of flowing around and you're thinking about things and there's not so much stimuli. It's not like text message, email. It's more of like you just kind of thinking about stuff on your own terms. I think that's really powerful for people. Like we need more of that, way more of that.
Yeah. I'll put the phone down in a different room so I'm not out staring at it or doing any kind of media thing with it. A lot of times I like to write when I first wake up in the morning, which is like 5:30 a.m. or so. And I'll get stuck. It happens a lot. I get stuck on a certain part. And then just throughout the day, I won't even be home. I'm like, oh, that's an awesome line. It'll just be one single line, but I have to have it in that episode. So I'll go on my phone. I have a notepad in my phone that I add. We were school shopping just a few days ago, and we're in, I don't know, one of those clothes stores. And just out of nowhere, that's an awesome line. Like I just kind of like heard it in my head. That's an awesome line. I can't even remember what it is right now. But I remember writing it down in my phone. It says, so-and-so says, and so-and-so says back. Don't know what episode it'll be in, but it'll be in something.
I love
that's kind of how things come together. I'll go back and then I'll read these ideas, and I still have ideas on my phone. Like I wrote down months ago. I still never did anything with it, but in February I wrote down, make an episode of The Floor is Lava, because a lot of kids watch The Floor is Lava stuff,
Yeah.
which I still never did something with. But one day I will look at it and say, okay, I'll write it today. We just finished episode 11, is almost done, and I don't even have anything for 12 yet. Like nothing. So,
Yeah.
but it will probably tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like how I plan out my podcast
That's
episodes. I have a list and it's like 4 or 5 words, just some random thing where I'm like, oh, that's a great idea for a podcast. And then like 3 months later, I'm looking at the list and maybe there's always something that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm sure it was a good idea. At the time, it was like, oh, I got to write this down.
Yeah.
But then there's something where you think of it out of context and it still holds true. And then that's the one you choose. And then like that's creativity. That's writing. Writing isn't so much just sitting at your computer typing until you're done. It's you have this like seed that gets planted and then you just kind of water it a little bit and all of a sudden it takes off.
I just have to finish it. If I even start it, there's one episode, I think it's like the second episode, I was writing it and I go, gosh, this sucks. This is horrible. And now it's kind of like, one of people's favorite ones. It's like, I can't be too critical of myself. It used to take the first couple episodes, I'd film a scene and I'd film it like 1 million times because it's like, it's good. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Now I film things no more than 3 times. That's it. Especially with Avery. If she doesn't say something right, we try 3 times and then we stop. I'm like, I'm using one of those scenes. I don't care that she changed the words. Sometimes she changes the words and it sounds even better. She'll change the words that we have to change the lines after it, but it's still even better. So I don't go back. I'm not too picky about it. It's just, I just have to get it complete instead of obsessing over it like I used to.
But that's like a good life lesson, right?
Yeah,
like
get it out there and do it.
Yeah, it's okay as is.
You can't be too critical of yourself.
No, because someone else watching it, they're seeing it for the first time. They're watching it as entertainment on their phone or on their laptop. They don't know that there were 6 other versions. That's the only one they see. And maybe they're noticing something different that you never thought about that they like,
Yeah, people would make comments too about like certain scenes. Like, I love the scene when this happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, it did happen in something. That's interesting. It wasn't the main part, but that's your best part.
What do you do with the comments and the feedback, especially because you do have kids in your show? Do you kind of read it and get more ideas? Do you reply back?
I'll get comments. I usually post on Reddit and Facebook and Instagram. I reply to everybody within like 2 hours, I think it is, except for when I'm sleeping. And most comments are positive. There's some that can be negative, and I just don't care.
Yeah.
The downside to it is sometimes they're positive, and sometimes I still just don't care. Just because I do it to spend time with the kids. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, but I didn't exactly make it for you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So the comments don't kind of roll off my back. I know, say like, in my wife's case, she has a YouTube channel too, where she does cleaning hacks and organizing tricks and some really cool stuff like that. And she has anxiety worse than I do, but she's been putting herself on camera and showing her face there and talking. And I know she's uncomfortable, but she gets a lot of positive feedback. But if she gets one feedback where it says, your voice, they'll say like your voice could be annoying. She'll be talking about it like a year later. Remember they said my voice was annoying? Not they. One idiot said it a year ago, and everyone else says, some people said I love your voice so much. You should be one of those, what are they called? Kind of like meditation readers where like, today you had a great day. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
So she, like the negative feedback like really, really affects her. When I'm just like, hey, they just said my show sucks. I don't care. Then they don't have to watch it. And then they'll go back and watch another episode and give me another comment. Oh, thank you for watching it. Because every time you give me a thumbs down, it helps the YouTube algorithm just as much as give me a thumbs up. So if it affected you that much that you have to give it a thumbs down, then at least it had a reaction in you.
I've noticed there are influencers on YouTube. Lately, they'll say, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you don't like it, just do something. And I think that's kind of cool. Like, you don't like what I have to say. And like, usually it's videos I've noticed where the content it's educational, it's informative. There's usually some kind of a mission, like whether it's a channel on like sustainability or like something to kind of just make people aware of an issue. But for whatever reason, it's the internet.
Yeah.
Like, what do they say? You can be the most delicious, juicy peach in the world, and there's someone who just doesn't like peaches, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
We actually made a free commercial for the company called the Peach Truck, as we just reminded me of. It's a short. We ordered 50 pounds of peaches, and we sat there like, let's make a commercial for them and hashtag it to them. I was trying to get free peaches because the end of it says, and this is not a paid ad. And the dog goes, or is it?
That's
So I
good.
try to make shorts too, for TikTok and things like that. Just whatever we could think of. Like even that episode, it's only a minute and a half long, but I did it in 3 hours in one day. Like my wife had the idea, I wrote it down really quick, we recorded it really quick, and it took probably longer to edit it than to do all that together.
So 3 hours for a 1 minute TikTok, is that
For that,
right?
yeah, for that was for TikTok and for
Wow.
it's on YouTube too, actually.
Yeah.
The actual episodes that we write, it takes me about an hour or two to write an episode. It takes my daughter so far about an hour to write an episode, maybe longer. And then to do the recording, since a lot of it is just photographs, because I use an animation app, the photographs take 2 to 3 hours, maybe. Obviously I was working on it today, but this is the 5th day in a row that I've been editing on and off, an hour here, hour there.
Yeah, like people see podcasts, like for example, like the Joe Rogan show, right? That's a really popular show. A lot of these big podcasts, they have teams of like 10, 20 people. They have sound editors and content experts and engineers and marketing people. And like I do my podcast all by myself. It takes hours and hours and hours. People get excited about podcasts, for example. Anyone can go on Amazon, drop $2,000 on podcast equipment, get the microphones, get all the equipment, set it up. But then it's like, all right, well, what do you have to say? Why are you starting your podcast? And there is a lot of content out there, but it's not all good. It's not all interesting. It's not all stuff that kind of changes people. Like you mentioned, your show, it's like, it's written by kids. That alone it's unique and it's different and it's going to resonate with people.
It does, yeah, because it's a little different. I mean, I know there's other talking dog shows, but if you watch them, it's not like that. This show, I don't know if I said it on here, but it uses stuffed animals. It's the stuffed animals that are talking. I mean, the dog Rusty was one of the first dogs that I ever had when this idea came about. That was one of the first dogs I was looking at, thinking about. And now Rusty is Lady from Lady and the Tramp. It's just stuff that we already have in the house. Dog named Samson I got when I was 15 when my real life dog, Black Labrador, died. His name is Samson. And my dad got me the stuffed animal as a comforter. So the animals actually like mean things to me too, for the most part. Some of them, one I got my wife on a Valentine's Day that we have. And so these are all just stuffed animals and they all have their own personalities. And then episode 3, somewhere around there, a cat named Jasper joins them. I don't even know why I did that. I still don't know why I did that. But now everyone loved that cat so much about those comments that you were talking about, which did influence it. So now that cat is in almost every single episode, and he's the narcissist. He loves staring at himself and talking about himself and how great he is. And people just love the different personalities that these animals have. Even Avery has her own personality, which I don't write. She just says these things and does these things. The first episode was actually meant for adults. It wasn't even. I didn't even call it a kids show yet at that time.
Yeah. To close out, I am really curious. I want to go back to kind of how creativity and having an outlet just kind of helps you unwind and just kind of be a better person and just kind of live to your potential, live to your max.
Yeah, I'll take a drive, listen to music. We go for walks, hikes. Most of the time it's with my family, but you take care of your family and stuff. And sometimes you want your own time. And even if it's only for 5 minutes, like 5 minutes of, say, for me playing the piano, for instance, it erases everything from the day. It's just gone. Just because you're really thinking about nothing. You're going kind of going with your own moment, and it's almost like a reset button. Creativity in general. My daughter Adriana, she draws, so when she's really stressed on something, she'll draw something, she'll paint something, and I know it helps her relax, because after that it's like nothing happened. And I think it's important for everybody. Yeah, okay, take care of your family and stuff, but you have to take care of yourself in order to take care of your family. So if you need time out, literally, kids would get a timeout, take a timeout for yourself and just do something that, you like. It doesn't even have to be something you've done before. I mean, I didn't make videos until I was 43 years old when I started. I'm 44 now, but yeah, I'm getting better at it, and even if I suck at it, it still helps me feel better about myself.
I love it. It's inspiring. Just going back again to what you said about kind of hiding your identity a little bit with like some costumes or talking through a puppet or through a stuffed animal. It's fun and it's escapism. And it's escapism with your kids, and you're all kind of just playing together, and there's beauty in that. Like even your little daughter, you kind of just let her say what she wants to say and just kind of be her own personality.
They don't mind now, but sometimes it does. It depends on the day, actually. Avery would be like, can we record today? She'll just grab her mask, or she'll grab her nose and her dog ears and just run around the house and play with it and do her own kind of role playing, which at first I was kind of like, oh, you're going to damage the mask. I'm like, I don't care. You can take the dog, do what you want. She came in the kitchen last week and says, no, Daddy, come look, or something. Come look at something. She took stuffed animal dogs, my stuffed animal cats, all my stuffed animal, I have mice and those other things too that I haven't really used yet. And there's about 30 animals, and she lined them all up like this huge giant army in the dining room, and it was scary as anything. But she goes, look, I made my own dog show. It was really creepy, but she's using her own role play now. So now she'll have a dog talk to a dog. She'll mimic the voices of whoever does the voice, and she's actually pretty good. So I think when she's older, she might even get her own dog where she can do some voice acting too instead of physical acting. But so I see some of that in her that she likes. Maybe she'll be an actress someday. Maybe she'll be a screenwriter. That's another new thing. Two of my kids, we all have IMDb pages now, but I mostly just monitor mine and my two daughters because they love doing script writing, and when they get older, they want to be either a script writer or an artist or somewhere along those lines. So I keep, changing their page and updating it because they can Google their names, and it says IMDb with my name on it.
Wow.
The Internet Movie Database.
Yeah.
I think when they go back to school, you don't know who I am? Just Google me.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You can say, hey, whoever's bullying them, you can say, hey, I've been on IMDb since I was like 6. Like, who are you?
What are you talking about? Do you know who I am?
Well, is there anything you want to close us out on?
Well, mostly just be true to yourself, find stuff that you enjoy, and take care of yourself. On my side of things, just Google either Dogs of Town Hall, or you could type in Vardalia onions. They both work.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
You've reached the end of the Enough-ism podcast. I'm your host, Yugen Bond. I'm a metaphysical author and have an ebook called Enough-ism, This Minimalist Wants More, now on Amazon, featuring interviews and musings on meditation, yoga, and mindfulness. Thanks for listening, and remember, you're always enough just the way you are.